Hola amigos, we're Fiorella and Zach, and in 2018 we bought a shuttle bus to convert to the tiny eco home on wheels of our dreams. We bought the bus and converted it for under $10K, and today we want to give you the tips and tricks that we used to be able to make this dream a reality, so we can hopefully catch you on the road. Let's get to it. Okay guys, so let's give you what you came here for.
Start off the list, my love.
So we have, how many? We should have counted these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like 8 or 9 tips that we want to share with you guys about how you can save money, but also how you can make money in your build. So a little bit of everything. These are based on our experiences and we're just excited to share. So first tip that we have for you guys is gonna be a big theme throughout all of them, and it's be creative. Be creative in all senses during all the process, from the materials that you can use to how you can build things to where to source the materials from. Like, really explore a lot of options. Question yourself how you can explore more options, from reaching out to friends to really doing a lot of research. Just be creative throughout the whole process. It will save you money because you'll be able to do things differently, and that will give you a little bit of a heads up in your budget.
Well put. So the next one is going to be, it might seem kind of basic or obvious, but it's very, very important, and that is keep track of your items and stay organized. So you're going to want to just basically have a long list of anything that you need, want, have to use, need to buy, need to rent for your build. That way you keep organized and keep on task. Like what we did is we just made a long list of everything that we needed, and as we went, we just checked it off and just kept going like that.
Yeah, and the organized part also applies too, especially when you're shopping too. So when you're running to Lowe's or Home Depot, make sure you're running with a list with your measurements, so you're buying just what you need. A lot of times you'll find yourself that you didn't measure something, so you'll buy like a bigger piece of wood or more material because you're unsure, and that's really gonna bite you. So make sure you keep things organized. You know, like, how many screws you have so that you're not buying extra. These little details really add up, especially with how much you're running to Lowe's, like the frequency, and
Definitely.
If you're just buying screws every time, like, that will add up. So stay organized.
Yeah, definitely.
So the third point that we have is make or decide your priorities as early as possible. So we made a list of priorities that we have and where we were willing to spend a little bit more in dollars. So essentially, our big priority for us, for instance, was the floors. A lot of cheap flooring options are made out of plastic, and they're really hard to like work with after you're done with them. Like, they're going to be in there for a long time, and essentially we wanted to make sure we were buying something sustainable. So we knew we were going to spend a little bit more money there because we weren't sure if we were going to be able to source it any other way but buy new. Make a list of priorities. It will help you decide where to put your money and where to be able to squeeze or budget elsewhere. It'll just keep things organized, and same with your layout. The easier, the faster you decide it, you can make these priorities too.
The next thing that you're going to want to do is conserve your pieces, or when you make cuts or you're building, make sure you do it in a smart or thought out way. Like, for example, if you're cutting a big piece of board, don't just cut it like right in the middle. Make sure you can save the other pieces so that you can use them in other projects. For example, our upper cabinet, we had an entire different cabinet with doors and everything, and we didn't like it. So when we took it down in a way that would be able to still use all of the pieces of wood, and we actually were able to make the completely new one, which is a whole different setup out of all of the wood that we saved from the previous cabinet.
Yeah, there's no scrap materials. Like, all of the 2x4s that you're buying could be used elsewhere, so you know, keep them around too so you can use them elsewhere, and make cuts thinking of the next step. That will really help you maximize your resources.
Definitely.
So the fifth?
Fifth.
So the fifth tip is by far the most important one.
And our favorite.
And we could talk about this for years.
And we might.
But the 5th tip is buy secondhand. And this is such a big umbrella of things. So many things fall into this category. And it is without a doubt the thing that saved us a ton of money. So many examples, but one that really comes to mind is like the sink. Sinks are really freaking expensive.
Insanely expensive.
We knew we wanted a big farmhouse sink. There was a specific look we were going after. I was going after. I wanted a black sink, and sinks similar to the one we have run for like $450 in Amazon. So buying secondhand allowed us to cut a big chunk of that. We spent $50 in ours, and it's gorgeous. So buying secondhand applies to appliances, to materials for your build, to things like hinges, screws. Like, there's all kinds of options, especially in places like Habitat for Humanity. Make sure you look up if there's any like kind of vintage restore places around you. We got our sink at a place called RBX in Cleveland. Shout out to them. It's a beautiful place. If you are in that area, they have all kinds of vintage secondhand materials, even insulation. So really explore these places for all parts of your build.
And along with that, also check like the scratch and dent sections of home improvement stores, so Lowe's or whatever. They have sections where materials or items might be damaged, which means they have a scratch or, you know, a bump or something, and they sell them for much, much less. Like our butcher block is actually a 10-foot long butcher block, and we got it at Home Depot. It was kind of scratched and broken on the back. We obviously didn't need the whole thing, so we were okay with that, and we got it for like 75% off.
Yeah, and we bought materials before from like the area where like certain wood is damaged. You can go around it if you're only looking for smaller pieces. Like, in so many ways we saved so much money by sourcing to these places. Like, even screws and hinges we bought at Habitat, and they're top-notch quality, like best quality, and we got it for 50 cents. Like, really, that's what we were able to save a lot of money in.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk about this all day.
Forever, but let's move
on.
We'll
move on. The next one is going to be doing things yourself. Pretty self-explanatory. The more things that you do yourself, the less you have to outsource and pay somebody else to help you with. For example, we decided that we didn't want to pay a lot of money for a Nature's Head composting toilet because those can run for $1,000.
That's a great.
Which, to us, is just a lot of money for a toilet. So.
But again, like, that's a priority theme.
Right.
So like that goes tied into that, right? So a priority for us wasn't to have one, so we were able to really dive into finding an alternative.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if that is your priority, then that is something that you would decide earlier on.
You would budget.
You would allot the money for that, and that would help you budget the rest of your build. But for us, it wasn't, so we built our own composting toilet, and we bought a urine diverter from a guy who 3D prints them himself on eBay, and I think all in we spent $40 for the whole toilet. So in our specific build, it just helped us push that money other places.
Exactly. And number 7, maybe we should have mentioned it more on the top, but number 7 is time. So obviously, this is because it allows you for so many more things. We took 2 years in converting, and it really allowed us to be able to spread out the cost, not have to make big payments up front. It also gave us time to find, like, we searched for our appliances secondhand for months before we found the things that we did. We were able to get super deals because we were patient. We had time to. We didn't have to press find things to move into the bus. So the more time you have both for the build and for purchasing things, then the more money you'll be able to save.
And going with that, it doesn't need to be that you buy your stove when you're ready to put your stove in. If you're looking for it and you find it and you buy it, you can always buy it. And like what we did, we just kept it in the bus, and then when we needed to work there, we just moved it to the other side of the bus. Yeah,
definitely. So number 8 is moving into how you can make money with your build. So fun little tip. you can sell certain parts of your bus that you will no longer need. For example, your seats. We sold our seats. They were brand new condition, no scratches, no dents or anything like that. And we made $500 out of our seats. So that actually paid for a lot of our beginning materials for the build. You can also do, separate all your metal that you'll take out of the bus and scrap it. It's a few bucks, but a few bucks go a long way in a conversion.
It goes a long, long way, for sure. So the next and the last ones are going to be when you're setting up and you're getting ready to move into your bus, or even just when you decide that doing bus life or van life is for you, is budgeting and downsizing. So with those, as soon as we decided that we were going to move into a bus one day, we didn't know when it was going to be, but we just started downsizing things. We just started getting rid of things. We started making sure that we were buying less when we'd be in a store, whether we're thrifting or whatever. We would look at an item and say, do we need this? Will we use this in the bus? And if the answer is no, just leave it, because there's really no point in buying it just for that little bit of time.
Especially like home furniture or home decorations. Like, if that's not going in the bus, you shouldn't be buying it.
Yes.
And it just save you money.
Yeah. And speaking of furniture and whatnot, when you are downsizing these things, don't just throw them in the garbage for so many reasons. You can be more sustainable and try to sell them. We used Facebook Marketplace or donate them. We weren't sure what the turnout was going to be, but we posted all of our things, and within hours, we had sold every single thing that we had owned.
From lamps to furniture, like, there's really a market, and, I mean, we didn't make a lot of money out of them. Like, we sold some stuff for $5 or, like, stuff like that, but little things like that will help you. Well, they'll add up.
Yeah, they definitely add up. Every single penny counts.
Yeah. Moving on to the last tip that we had in our notes here is going to be budgeting. So this one is kind of self-explanatory when you're talking about any kind of financial thing or making or saving money. But the more you budget, then the more you're able to use your money smart. And that's something we really learned. Financial freedom is one of the big reasons why we're choosing to do this lifestyle and what we hope to achieve through this lifestyle. We so hardly believe that being able to own our own home, like, allowed us to be able to redirect our money. But when it comes to the build, budgeting will really help you. Make sure you're going through your receipts, keeping track of how much you're spending, but also before that, do the planning of being able to say how much you want to spend here, there, like, really keep track of your finances, because it'll help you make smarter decisions.
Well said.
Okay, so we were editing the video and we realized that we missed on sharing two very important tips, and we didn't want to leave you guys without it. So the first one is about the tools. When we started the conversion, we didn't have a single tool to our name, so we were able to borrow tools and rent tools, and doing that saved us a lot of money. We've asked friends, family, neighbors, so really explore that, because a lot of the tools you only need for 1 or 2 projects, so being able to borrow them instead of buying them will save you a lot of money. And the second one is keeping things simple. That was a big theme throughout our build. We kept our plumbing, our electrical, our bathroom, our shower, a lot of stuff very simple, and it allowed us to, like, cut costs a lot. So the simpler your system is, the less parts you need, the less money you're spending in little things that add up. So those two things were really important, and we wanted to share them. So let's go back to the video. Yeah. And to sum it up, like, for us particularly, I just want to really highlight the fact that buying secondhand and being creative with materials and upcycling materials is huge. Like, we used wood that we took out of the bus in different parts of the build. Like, you can reuse a lot of the materials. You can find ways of using materials that already exist, like ask friends, ask family. We were able to use a lot of, like, all of our trim is out of your mom's basement, and she just had extra trim, so we didn't need a lot. Like, you're working with such a small space that it really allows you to be able to be creative and find materials elsewhere and upcycle them. And not only is it absolutely incredible for the earth, but it's also incredibly good for your wallet.
It definitely is.
So is.
It really is.
So I hope that, or we hope that these tips helped you, gave you an insight of how we made it happen. We knew we always wanted to stay under 10. We spend $5,000 in the bus, and we spend like a little bit under $4,000 in the conversion itself, that including everything. So we're really sticking proud about it.
If you have any questions further about things that we talked about or any ideas that you have for how you could save money, let us know. Reach out to us. We would love to learn more because we always plan on doing projects, so we would love to get better at it and get better at saving money. So just let us know if you have any questions or comments, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. It helps us out so much, and we appreciate every single one of you who has subscribed and stuck around and watched our videos and has supported us.
Yeah, we're really happy to be able to share and provide you guys with resources. So anything, questions you have, please send us a message. We're happy to answer to those. We look forward to answering to those. And there's always a lot of things coming. We will finally be doing a tour here soon, so stick around with that subscribe, with the little bell, and we will see you next week.
Alrighty.